We actually ran a poll on Twitter, isn't it?
Yeah, we did. We asked if Hudson-Odoi should have started the game. 80% of the viewers actually voted that he should have started. Do you agree? Because I think he only came on like with 10 minutes left in the game.
Well, looking at the first half, no, because Chelsea were bright, creative, penetrated, should have scored, but didn't. So the argument there is no, he shouldn't have started the game. I think a lot of the Chelsea fans really want him to because they like him as a player. He's very positive and creative going forward. But again, I always go back to the person who knows better than anybody else is the head coach. You know, he's working with them week in, week out, day in, day out.
But I think the way the Chelsea play doesn't suit Giroud. He's a tall player. He likes crosses. He's present in the box and scares defenders. He came on. He didn't have one cross. So
yeah, there is then no, I wouldn't say plan B, but no variety. You know, and since they didn't get any success, but it was very obvious, they tried to play in small kind of distances. So if you block that all up and congest it, it becomes more and more difficult. And then actually, you know, you need sometimes to throw something different. Actually, the chance they got was from a ball at the back post that Luis headed back. And it was a diving header that was from sort of clear from the line. That was the only thing in the second half. Plus a few shots then, obviously.
Now, of course, you're talking about then again, there's not much changes to it. The stubbornness of Maurizio Sarri coming out once again. What can Chelsea do from here on out? What can Sarri do to change things up?
Well, by evidence, he doesn't like to change things up. He likes to pursue with things, and he probably thinks it needs more time. It needs fine-tuning. Because do not forget, they come on the back of some really good results. Yeah. I mean, going away, you know, Dinamo and winning 5-0. You know, but that shows again how difficult the Premier League is, because let's be honest, Everton is not on the best of runs. Yeah, so I'm sure that Chelsea got there with the hopes of we're going to get a result here. If we play and we create chances that we did in midweek and the week before, the last two games, we're probably going to get something out of it. And you should have. Yeah. I think if Chelsea would have gone in front, the noses in front, in the first half, I don't think Everton would have come back.
And if you look at Chelsea's previous games, their previous 7 games, they were unbeaten before getting beat today. So, hang on, you know, they're not having a ridiculously bad time, are they?
But speaking about Sarri, remember when Guardiola came to the Premier League, he struggled in the first year in the Premier League. He played different football, then he changed. So I think Sarri doesn't have experience of English football. So I think if he stayed the next year, he will understand more and maybe he will adapt his style of play. But it seems like that he's still forcing the way he's playing at the moment. But if he stays next year, I do believe that he will...
Should Chelsea stick with Sarri then?
I think the situation they are at the moment, I think it will be difficult to find someone who will come and replace, especially when you cannot bring the players. Yeah. So that's a big question. But as a manager, Sarri, he worked in Italy. I know his work. He's very positive and offensive coach, but unfortunately, it doesn't work at the moment well for him. But it's still 8 games to go.
Yeah. So I think you should always judge a team and the coach at the end of the season. So you're saying, should Chelsea stick with Sarri at the moment? I'm saying, wait until the end of the season. And they just might have finished in the top 4, qualified for the Champions League. They might just have won the Europa League. So why wouldn't you stick with him under those circumstances?
I've had a brief experience of being a manager. I know how difficult it is because it's completely different than being a coach. But in general, and that's a really good comment that Nemanja made here about Pep Guardiola coming in, it takes, give and take, 18 months. 18 months for a manager to get the team to play in a way that he wants and get consistent success. Look at Klopp at Liverpool, exactly the same. Brendan Rodgers, before he was at Liverpool, took him 18 months, and then they were very close in winning the league. Remember, Reem?
Yes,
very
I
close,
remember.
but he didn't. And it's the same with Guardiola. So it takes that time. The problem is, a lot of times, they're not going to be given that time. Sarri is a really good manager. If you look at Napoli, you know, last year and the years before, it was just a delight to watch. Delight to watch.
But especially at Chelsea, he's not going to be given the time. That's the thing.
Well, you don't know. I mean, maybe.
If you look at
Maybe
Chelsea's
they
record,
won't have
yeah.
a choice right now, though, right? So that could actually give him some time. You think with the transfer ban policy, that could probably buy him some time, or maybe if he wins the Europa League,
that would
as
probably
well. Yeah.
buy him more time, because all clubs like Chelsea, they also always want to compete for prizes. And if you win a trophy, and if that's the Europa League, right, you're in the Champions League, you're in the trophy, fantastic, and now you carry on. Because when a manager comes in a club, the most of the team is not his team. You bring one or two players in, but the team is established, it's there. So he has to get his points across. That takes time. Yeah, that goes through, and sometimes goes better than others, but obviously they're there and thereabouts. Yeah, that they still should go in the top 4 for Champions League. And then you get another transfer window, which has now been taken away. And that's where actually the manager then wants to sort of change those individuals which he thinks don't fit. He brings the ones in that does, and then suddenly that team shapes up the way he wants to play. And that's what I mean. That takes time, and it's a process that, like I said, give and take.
18 months.
18 months.
Yeah, and I've just had a quick look down the table. I think there's about 9 clubs in the Premier League at the moment whose managers haven't been there even a year. So,
Says a lot about
nobody has any patience in this game anymore. They really don't.